On last night's show, we talked about this election, this special election in upstate New York to replace Congressman Christopher Lee, who showed up shirtless and flexy on Gawker.com and who resigned from office before you could finish loading the article with his picture at the top. That was 3 months ago, the fastest political scandal on earth. The special election to replace Mr. Lee ought to be a gimme for the Republican Party. His district was designed less than a decade ago to be a sure bet, no chance for the Democrats' redder than red Republican district. Remember when crazy Carl Palladino was the Republican nominee for governor with his racist bestiality porn scandals and the screaming and swearing at people? Carl Palladino actually won in New York 26 in Christopher Lee's old district. That's how Republican New York 26 is. They even voted for Carl Palladino. When Barack Obama beat John McCain by 25 points in New York State, in New York 26, McCain won. But as we reported last night, the uber Republican politics of New York 26 are no match for how much people all over the country hate the Paul Ryan Republican plan to kill Medicare. In a district where a majority of voters are older than 45, the Republican candidate Jane Corwin's pledge to vote with her party to kill Medicare has been driven home by the Democrat in the race, Kathy Hochul. Driven home to the point where the latest polling shows the two candidates to be in a dead heat in a district that red. Since our report on that last night, there's new news of new conservative money pouring into that race to try to save it for the Republicans. Karl Rove's secret donor American Crossroads Group, starting today, is spending $650,000 on TV ads to benefit the Republican candidate. That's the call. Is there a response? Maybe. A liberal group called House Majority PAC says it may now get involved as well. Their spokesman saying today they are keeping very close tabs on this race. Now, woe be to anyone who tries to infer too much about national politics from one special election in one obscure but I'm sure lovely congressional district. But special elections can sometimes be seen as bellwethers, as predictors of things to come in the next election. Take, for example, Wisconsin. In a special election for one state assembly seat there a week ago today, a Democrat took that seat for the first time in 16 years. You know who got that particular political micro message? This guy, Republican Wisconsin State Senator Dan Kapanke, whose territory includes that assembly district. Mr. Kapanke is one of 6 Republicans who have been put up for recall by voters because of his support of Wisconsin's Republican governor's big union stripping bill. 4 of those recall petitions got a preliminary go-ahead from state officials today, satisfied that the campaigns had collected enough valid signatures. Now, 3 Democratic state senators have also been put up for recall by conservative groups because they left Wisconsin to try to stop the union stripping thing. You will notice there are half as many Dems being forced to defend their seats, and so far not one of the attempted Democratic recalls has yet been given a green light by the state. To retake the Wisconsin State Senate, Democrats need to oust 3 Republicans. They are going for 6. We don't yet know how many they will have to defend as well, but we do know that they need a net gain of 3, and that is not very many. One way you can tell it is not seen as very many in Wisconsin is that Republicans have started trying to jam through their legislative agenda now as fast as they can. Stuff they might have waited years to do is now suddenly on the calendar. Stuff like legalizing concealed weapons, deregulating the telephone industry, expanding Wisconsin's troubled school voucher program, ending early release from prison. These are not emergency items unless you don't have much time left because you're about to lose control of the state Senate or you fear you might. One other item Wisconsin Republicans have decided they can't wait on, they must push through right away. They've decided they cannot wait to pass a bill that would make it harder to vote in Wisconsin. And they cannot wait for that bill to take effect once they pass it. When they first proposed a law that would require you to show a photo ID at the polls, it was to take effect in the 2012 primaries, so next spring. Now, the harder-to-vote rules would take effect immediately, right away, as in before the 6 Republican state senators have to defend their seats in recall elections that will be scheduled for sometime this summer. Remember what happened last time Wisconsin Republicans tried to jam something through as fast as possible? That was in March when Republicans decided to pass their union stripping deal through a hastily rewritten bill passed without a quorum through a special committee meeting called with very little notice and a procedure the courts are still mulling over to decide if it was legal. At that committee hearing, one Democrat, House Minority Leader Peter Barca, made a last stand to try to stop what they were doing.
No, excuse me. No, listen, it says if there's any doubt as to whether good cause exists, the governmental body should provide 24 hours notice. This is clearly a violation of the open meetings law. Now, look, you've been shutting people down. It is improper for you to go forward while is a violation of the open meetings law. You're not allowing amendments, and that is wrong. There must be no, Mr. Chairman. This is a violation of the open meetings law. It requires 24 at least 2 hours.
Joining us now is that man who stood in front of that tank. Democratic State Representative Peter Barca of Wisconsin, who serves as the Assembly Minority Leader in that state's legislature. Representative Barca, thanks very much for your time.
Well, Rachel, great to be on your show, and we appreciate all the great coverage you've had of Wisconsin just by shedding some light on this radical agenda that they've been pushing over the last couple months has helped enormously.
Let me ask you about that national spotlight. I mean, the reason Wisconsin has had so much national attention from me and other people this year is not just because of how surprising and aggressive the Republican agenda has been in Wisconsin, but because the backlash in Wisconsin against it has been so strong. You are right in the middle of it. Do you feel like Wisconsin has a lesson for the country in terms of Republican overreach and the reaction you've had there?
Oh, there's no question, Rachel. I mean, we have had 30 budget hearings around the state, and people have come out in droves. They are extremely upset at this radical agenda. Of course, poll after poll, even by right-wing organizations, show 2/3 of the people are against having their rights to collective bargaining removed. But now you've got radical proposals, and in each case, they come up with the most extreme laws. Today alone, we had on the bill on the docket today to pass the most extreme bill to basically end wind energy in Wisconsin, a state that has a heritage for clean environmental practices. They had another bill to no longer require municipalities to have clean water. And then they had a bill, which you mentioned earlier in your segment, regarding the school voucher program. And once again, they take the most extreme measures to take off the lid completely and allow the taxpayers to pay for wealthy people to send their children to private schools, not even in the same community they live in. It's just been remarkable to see their overreach, and people are reacting strongly. You mentioned the 94th Assembly District, which has been held by 16 years by the governor's top aide, that we won by a significant margin, 54-46. 3 county executive races in the governor's home county of Milwaukee County went big for the Democrat against one of the governor's top allies in the legislature. Republican Outagamie County elected a Democrat as county executive for the first time ever. And then you have the Supreme Court race that we still don't fully know the outcome, with Joanne Kloppenburg 30 points behind with 4 weeks to go, that it comes within a whisker of a vote. So people are catching on, and as you indicated, Rachel, they hear the footsteps. So they are rushing through this legislation with little public notice, with sloppily putting together amendments, changing it from day to day. People don't even know what bills we're considering. They change them so rapidly.
What do you think is going to happen in terms of recall elections in your state? When do you think those will be, and what do you think the results will be?
Well, it looks pretty clearly like they'll be in mid-July, and we feel very confident based on the last couple election cycles we've been through, including the special election. People are upset. They feel as though the middle class is under attack. And they're standing up strongly. They're coming out in droves. We hear constantly from people who have never been involved in politics before that they're now fully engaged. It's been remarkable to watch.
Democratic State Representative Peter Barca of Wisconsin, thank you very much for your time tonight, sir. I really appreciate it.
Well, Rachel, we appreciate your coverage.
Thank you. We'll be right back.